A few years ago, America's veterans were a very low priority, and you could make a case of saying they weren't even on the radar screen in Washington. The VA was underfunded, it was understaffed, soldiers were returning from Iraq and Afghanistan, and they found a system that was so messed up. But after many, many decades of neglect, everybody thought somebody would do something, something would change. But we did something. The very first time we could do anything about money, we put $3.5 billion into funding for the VA hospital. Again, that has a big impact for our veterans right here in Kansas, but in this area, that's something like over 1,000 jobs that are represented by that VA right here. So it's not only about the right thing to take care of our veterans, it's about the right thing to do. It's a good thing for the economy right here of Topeka, Kansas. In the 12 years before I got into office, they had put $16 billion of new funding into veteran spending when the needs were just skyrocketing. In the 2 years that will be my first term, we will have added $18 billion of new spending to take care of our veterans. Now, it's still a mess. It was so taken apart and it was so dismantled. Mental health care had been dismantled. The benefit system down in Wichita, everything had been so dismantled that we're putting that back together, and veterans are actually saying they can get an appointment faster. Some of this gridlock is being taken care of. But the most important thing that we've done is put real money behind mental health care. Again, that was the right kind of change that we were looking for in Washington, D.C. And you have to ask the question, why on earth would it have taken so long to do what should have been so obvious? Now, we can't go out there and afford to think that Washington is perfect, because we all know that it is still one incredibly messed up place. And if you're frustrated about what's going on, you can imagine how I feel, because I've got to be there about, most of the weeks. I come home every weekend to get my sanity back. But if you're frustrated about what's going on in Washington, you can imagine what I'm frustrated with. Too many politicians, and you'll see that right here in Kansas, are still horrified to speak any sentence that hasn't been poll tested word for word. And they're horrified to take votes that might get you one of those 30-second attack ads, one of those hit-and-run ads that they're trying to run against me on TV. They're still too frightened. But the fact is, what's happening and the message that's coming out is you and me together are standing up and saying, we really have had enough, and we want the right kind of change. We've had enough of politicians who are still, to this day, handing out our tax dollars to the big oil companies. And it's time to demand that they get to the business that we've been trying to give them all of these tax dollars for, and that's, yes, you have control of 68 million acres on the lower 48. There are 23 million acres in Alaska with more known resources, more known oil than Anwar, and you can lease those right now today. Why aren't you leasing? Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you increasing the supply of domestic oil so that we can break our dependence on foreign oil? But the oil companies would rather hoard those leases than to go do the work of making sure that our domestic energy supplies are strong and will keep our country strong. So we are holding the feet to the fire there. We've had enough of Washington, who sits idly by as our immigration crisis continues to boil over. We have 12 million illegal immigrants, at least in this country, and the time has long since come to sit there and to implement the laws that we know are there. We must give our employers a way to figure out who is here legally. But even starting now, we need to hold employers accountable and to say that we need to do something to address this 12 million illegal immigrants that are right here. And I know that as they become legal citizens and gain legal status, that you are bringing them into the labor family. For that, I am grateful, and we need to continue to do that. But the fact is, no one benefits. People who are here illegally and outside of the protections of the laws that this country has provided for us, no one benefits when we have a system of immigration that's out of control. We've had enough of politicians saying one thing about taxes and then doing another. We need to make permanent the middle class tax cuts. the child tax cut, the marriage penalty, the 10% tax bracket. We need tax credits for families that are taking care of elderly patients, and this for parents. And this is something that I have just begun to work on. We need tax cuts, real tax cuts for college tuition. Who's having trouble? Yeah. Right. You can still make $50, $60, $80, $100,000 a year. And whoever started planning 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 15 years ago to get that child through college, all the plans that you put together are not working. So I've been working with the guy from New York, Steve Israel, and we are going to just march on those two things. Tax credits for those of us who take care of elderly parents, and real tax relief for middle-class families that are trying to put their kids through college. Yay! The middle class works hard in Kansas, and this is something you can take to the bank. We deserve a Congress that works hard for that middle class and for working people and for the struggling class that is trying to get into that middle class as well. We've had enough of infighting. We've had enough of partisanship. And I don't know whether you heard, but Lynn Jenkins has said several times. The first time she said it, I thought, God bless her, anybody could make a blunder. When she said, we're going to get this seat back on behalf of the Republicans of Kansas. And the first time I heard that, I thought, oh, well, But no, it was over and over and over again, even the day after the primary, when she called her press conference. We're going to get this seat back for the Republicans. This is not a Republican seat, ladies and gentlemen. And if this seat were had a Democratic registration, I would stand up here and tell you it's not a Democratic seat either. This seat belongs to people of Kansas, and they are so sick and tired of this partisanship. So every time she's gone out and said, now I'm going to try to be bipartisan, it's just it's very laughable. That statement has offended Republicans and Democrats and independents. What I will tell you, and I know we've got some good Republicans right here in this room, and Democrats and independents, but even Republicans just found that they were offended by that kind of statement. They want somebody who's going to not work on behalf of party, but to work on behalf of Kansas. So we've had enough of infighting. We've had enough of this partisanship, and that's why I'm running for re-election, because Congress needs the right kind of change. We need leaders with courage, and we need leaders with guts, and I think I have shown that I have that. You don't fix Congress by getting into lobbyists or just rolling over to the big oil interests. You fix Congress by working hard, by holding yourself and everyone around you to the highest levels of accountability and transparency. You fix Congress by challenging people, and sometimes the really difficult work of telling people no. But you always stand up for your constituents and the people who sent you there. We can fix Congress together through our continued, unending and unwavering commitment to making sure that we have the kind of change that we're looking for. 2 years ago, you all helped me send a message to Washington that said we were ready for change. And some days, I don't think they got that message very strongly. And that's why I need your help with yard signs, again, bumper stickers. Those bumper stickers cost us about a nickel. One on the front, one on the back. I made one campaign promise, one, and that is that bumper sticker will peel right off. It's the only one I know I can keep. Get your union buddies, our union family. We've got 14 different kinds of bumper stickers. Put them on the front, the back. Those yard signs. We made such a statement with yard signs, the big ones and the little ones last time, that you know what's going to happen this time? Yard sign war. Okay. So this isn't something that I'm asking you to do if you just go out and tell your labor family, if you feel like it or if you want to do it. I'm telling you that we need to stand up for the kind of change, and we need to let Washington know that we have not finished the work that we set out to do, but we're serious because Washington needs the right kind of change. Again, Will, Andy, thank you, and Donna. Sorry, Donna, thank you. Thank you all so much.